Hey guys, Echo here, and welcome to another life story. Today I want to tell you about the time that I got arrested but still managed to smoke that day. So going straight into it, this story takes place on the eve of my 18th birthday, so I was still technically 17. Now this becomes important in the story later. So I texted my friend all week and we're gonna go hang out, but I needed to take an hour train ride down to the Gold Coast to go see her. I didn't have my car at this time, so I was just kind of like using public transport all the time. So anyway, that morning I basically get all my stuff together, I put a bong in my bag, made from a Gatorade bottle. I got some weed on me, but just like a little bit, and I hide it like in my pocket, because I always kind of hid stuff when I had it on me, because you never know, right? And today, man, I was glad to do that. So I get down to the train station, it's like 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or something like that, and the train ticket for this hour train ride was $10 each way. And I was just not really feeling like paying that today. So what did I decide to do? Man, I was like, no, I'm not buying a ticket. The train people are almost never on the train. It was like a Tuesday or something. It was very unlikely that there were going to be any train people. So I just went, yeah, YOLO, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. So I get on this train. Again, illegal activities going on in my backpack and front left pocket. And I didn't buy a ticket. Now, the train is taking a little bit longer than usual to leave the station. And, the doors aren't closing, and I'm just kind of thinking, that's a bit weird. Now, before this, as I was entering the train station, I didn't see any cops or anything, so I thought, it's fine, they're definitely not here. That would turn out to be a huge mistake. So I actually almost got off. I was looking at the door, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I should get off, because it's been like 2 or 3 minutes at this point, and we haven't moved. That's really weird. This train normally goes straight away. So I was just like, nah, I should probably get off. This is a sign. There's gonna be train people. Anyway, that instinct was right, because right as I was thinking this, right as I was considering getting off, who walks on the train? Who comes straight up to me? 2 police officers. And of course they're like, hey, do you have a ticket? And I'm like, no. And then it was so nice, so that I was started to get off the train, because of course they're like, you have to get off. And this chick in like 2 or 3 rows in front of me like gets up and turns around and says, hey, can I pay for his ticket? And I was like, oh, that's so nice of you. But I wanted to say like, oh, I didn't pay because I don't have the money. I didn't pay because it's like, no, I didn't want to pay $10 to get down there, I was pretty broke during this time. Like $10, that's 2 cheeseburgers from McDonald's, okay? Like, man, as soon as I get high, I'm gonna go get these 2 cheeseburgers. I ain't paying for a train ticket. But anyway, they say it was too late, so they take me off the train, and immediately I am freaking out. I'm not so worried about like not having a ticket, because there's either no fine for that or the fine for that's really low, so I'm not really caring about that. What I am caring about is that anytime train officials or police pull you off the train, they have the right to search you because you're using like public property, or technically private public property. And obviously the contents of my bag, it's not very good. So they took me off the train. They're like, hey buddy, what's in the bag? And I'm like, okay. So I just open it because, I'm not trying to fight with police officers right now. They immediately, right? I didn't even hide it. Like, this thing is just right on top. Like, there's no covering it. It's there. Plus my bag probably smells like it's been used like 50 times. My bag smells like a used ashtray at this point. Like, it's just stinking up the whole place. So they pull this thing out of my bag and they're like, whoa, what's this for? And I'm like, oh, to smoke my tobacco. They're like, bro, just please don't lie to us, because we have to go and test this at the station. So if we test it, what's it gonna come up with? And I'm like, okay, weed. And then of course I needed to get my name. So they're like, okay, what's your name? And me, being a stupid 17-year-old, is like, oh, Josh Jones, like just changing my last name like an idiot. Then when I gave them that information, they're like, okay, what's your address? Because I need your name and address to confirm who you are. And I'm giving them an address from like 3 years ago. Anyway, they got their iPad out and they're like typing in all the fake details I gave them. And they're just like, no, like that's not your name. And I was just like, what do you mean? That's crazy. Anyway, after going around in circles for a bit, I just ended up telling the truth. And then they say to me, like, look, like, the bong's one thing, like, that's okay, that's just a misdemeanor, you'll just get a ticket for that, or you have to go to court and, like, they can sort it out there. but like lying about your name and place of residence, like that's a whole different thing. Like you can't do that. Anyway, so the reason it's important, I was 17, technically still 17, or maybe it was my 18th birthday that day, and I had like just turned 18. And this is important because if I had have been 18 for a few days, or 19, then they would have taken me to jail for that. Like, you cannot lie about your name, you will go to jail. So luckily, I was still 17 or just turned 18, so it was fine. And they're like, look, like, we need to call your dad about it, basically, or your parent about it, because you're technically still a minor. We don't really care about the bong. We do care about, you lying to us about your name. Don't do that. And so they take my bong off me, ruin my fucking day, get all my details and stuff, give me a court date for the bong, and basically say I have to go to the police station, like, at a later date with my dad so they can talk about it or whatever. But of course, they're like, you can call someone if you need to, like, we don't mind if you need to call someone. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm calling my friend because I'm just like, fuck, I need to tell her I'm gonna be, like, super late. And I knew she was at the gym that morning, so I was just like, I hope she answers, like, and I just also want to talk to a friend right now just to, like, laugh about this and be like, oh my god, I can't believe I got caught with this shit. So I'm calling her. Anyway, she doesn't answer. She doesn't answer, bro. Like, you were my one phone call, bitch. Like, can't even answer your damn phone. Like, what if I was in jail? Like, goddamn. So anyway, they eventually let me go. I buy a ticket because I have to, because they're there. I go down to the Gold Coast. We end up linking up, and then, the mission now is, like, we have weed because they didn't find the weed in my pocket. They're allowed to search your bag, but they're not allowed to search you, unless they have, like, reasonable suspicion of you committing a crime, which I guess with me they actually did. So I'm not really sure why they didn't search me, but they didn't. And even if they did, they wouldn't have found the weed. It was, like, tucked away in my pocket. Like, they wouldn't have found it. Even if they frisked me, they wouldn't have found it. But yeah, I get down to the Gold Coast, we link up, and then the mission now is, okay, we need something to smoke out of because, my bong got taken away. So what are we gonna do? We don't have papers at this point, like, and we preferred bongs anyway. It lasts longer, You roll a joint, you roll one joint, but you do bongs, you can have, like, 10 each, And this was, like, the thing back in Australia because weed's not legal, the weed's mostly not very good, so the only way to make it feel good is to kind of just hit it with a bong and spin it, which is what we call, like, putting tobacco in it. So we'd normally, like, chop up some tobacco in the weed and then just, like, mix it all together and then just have this spun mix. So some people did, like, 50-50, we called it, which is, like, literally half and a half, like, half tobacco, half green. I used to do that for a long ass time when I was broke because it just makes it stretch so much longer. But at some point I was like, this is disgusting. I'm probably going to get cancer. Like, I need to stop. So at this time, we're probably mixing like 30-70, like 30% tobacco, 70% weed is probably what we're mixing. We just got these, like, cheap as fuck cigarettes from this illegal Chinese store that didn't ask for ID or anything and definitely didn't pay taxes because the cigarettes were always so much cheaper there. And they were, like, random colored packaging. And in Australia, again, you can't have, like, branded packaging of cigarettes. It has to be, like, the government, like, horrible photos of, like, dead babies and people with missing teeth and eye diseases and stuff. So I don't even know how he got these cigarettes, but he did. So they were like $10 or $12 or something like that. So we'd buy a 20 pack of those and then just some weed, and that would stretch us like a couple weeks or a week or two. So I think I had like an eighth on me at this time, and we were going out and we were hitting the town, and then I was just like, okay, what do we need? What's the apparatus, So first and foremost, my friend lives in a really nice neighborhood. This is good for two reasons. One, the convenience stores are lit, and two, every single person has a hose in their driveway, and this again will become important. So we go to one of these lit convenience stores, right? We get the Gatorade, the OG Gatorade bottles, not these new Gatorade bottles. The new Gatorade bottles are soft. They're made with a softer, more biodegradable plastic, and that plastic is too soft, so when you burn it, it like contracts. It like contracts, it like sucks together, like makes little dings all over it, and it basically fucks the shape out of your bong, and then it's really hard to use. It's also way harder to build. The other thing we needed was a Red Bull can. Any can works, but like, I don't know, the Red Bull cans were just like what we went to always. And then the third thing we needed was a hose. Again, important. That's why every single person in this neighborhood had a hose in their driveway. This was important. The other thing we also needed was scissors now, because I didn't have a bong, so now we needed scissors. And I actually realized I needed scissors anyway because the weed I had wasn't chopped up. So we bought all our materials, okay? They didn't take my lighter off me, thank God. We drink the Gatorade just straight up. We share the Red Bull. Then we go on the hunt for the hose. So we're just walking around this like nice neighborhood in the middle of the day on like a Tuesday or something, and just looking for like the perfect hose, because there's some that are too thick and you can tell like the outer lining is too thick, like we won't even be able to cut through it. And then some are too thin and small and it's just not going to be good. So we need to find the perfect hose. We also need to find one preferably with like a detachable nozzle, because you don't want to fuck up someone's whole like hose by cutting it in the middle or something. I knew a lot of people who used to do that just to fuck with people. They'd cut out like a big chunk of the middle section just to like make them buy a new hose, or they'd like make them throw it out so they'd go back later that day or the day after and like literally the hose would be sticking out of their bin and they would just take the whole thing. But so we eventually found one, and it's on this like really nice house. It almost looks part of like a sprinkler system, to be honest, but like we can tell just by looking at it. This is how adept we were at this, at hose stealing. We could tell just by looking at a hose, like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a good one. So yeah, it almost looks like part of a sprinkler system, but I'm just like, you know what, fuck it, it's fine. Like, let's just get it. Like, at this point, I just want to smoke. It's been like 3 hours at this point since I got arrested. Like, I just want to smoke. The train ride was like an hour and a half. I had to walk ages to my friend's house because the public transport down there sucks. So I was just like, yep, no, like, we're just gonna find a hose. I don't care where it's come from. If it's perfect, we're using it. So here we are in the middle of the day, middle of like a homeowners association probably, just cutting this guy's hose. My friend lives like in the area. They probably recognize her because, you know, this is like a pretty white neighborhood and she is like black as hell. Like, I'm not being racist, I'm just saying she lived in the middle of like a super white neighborhood. Like, everyone definitely knew her or could like tell her apart. Like, she sticks out like a sore thumb there. So yeah, we cut this hose. It's a mesh to get through. We're like sawing it off. I'm like trying to chop it. She's trying to snap it. Like, but we managed to get our chunk of hose off, and we cut it so it's smooth. Then we cut the Red Bull can. You cut like a circle in the Red Bull can, and then you cut a slit in that circle, and then you basically fold it into a cone piece. So we burn the side of the bottle just big enough for like the hose, actually a little bit smaller than the hose size. It was the key. And then you just shove it in while it's still hot, and basically this melts or makes the plastic bend to exactly the size of the hose. There was like a science to this, an art. Some people needed blue tack or tape to make it airtight, but we could make it airtight just from like the technique used in building it. And honestly, like I said, we were so broke at this time that like we were not, like, this was our one opportunity. We did not have enough money to go back and buy another Red Bull can and another Gatorade bottle, and we didn't want to cut another hose, you know, so this was our one chance to get it perfect, and we did. We fucking nailed it, dude. The other technique we had as well was like cutting like a bit of a shape onto the bottom of the hose with like basically slice out a little bit so that most of it was underwater. But yeah, we did it, stuck the cone piece in, perfectly airtight, put a shot, we called it a shotty. It's like the air intake hole on the back, basically, where you put your thumb over to cover it and then you let it go to clear the chamber. We put one of those on as well. This was like a science, dude. We made the best bongs, better than some glassies I've had, honestly. Other than like, you know, the plastic and cancer thing. So yeah, then we finally find a place to smoke as well. It's this random like waterside park, again in the middle of this nice area. Really beautiful, ducks quacking, and we're just seshing, laughing, having a good time. I really miss when weed like made me feel like this. Now I just kind of get paranoid. Like, I actually smoked a joint with a friend last week and I was like just freaking out. Like, I just wanted to go home. I was not like, I didn't really want to talk. I couldn't even think of anything to talk about. Like, I just wanted to go home. Like, honestly, I don't know if the weed's stronger or if it's like different or if my body's reacting to it differently now, but this was like peak, like when I could just laugh with my friends and hang out and just have fun. So we finished the whole thing. The sun's like going down at this point. Like, I got there in the morning. It is now like the sun is going down. Like, we've been seshing the whole day. We go get some Maccas, you know, cheeseburgers, baby, and then it's time to call it a night, you know, need to go home. So obviously I'm like, I no longer have a bong. Like the bong I have is currently what I have. Like I'm currently holding the bong I have. So I'm like, do I risk getting two charges in one day for the same thing on the bus, on the train? Or do I just like, throw it out? This is where most people would say, throw it out, it's not worth it, it's risky. What do I do? No. I'm like, you know what? I don't have one at home. I need one. I still have a little bit of weed left. I'm gonna take it home and smoke it tonight. Like, I need a bong. Everything's closed. Like, it's like 6 p.m. Everything's closed. I can't get anything anymore. There's no 24-hour 7-Eleven back here. Like, I have to take this. So, like a genius that I was at this time, I took it at my house, I took it home, I bought a ticket on the train ride back, thank you very much, because I did not want to get caught doing that again. And of course, when I buy a ticket, there's no train people, and it's fine, and I easily could have got away with it. Half the people getting on are like sketchy and homeless or whatever, so like they're not buying a ticket, and of course they're fine. So, I just got bad luck that day, which was great. But yeah, I made it home, sesh the night, and that was chill. I really miss her, that girl. She's amazing. I can't wait to see her again. I haven't seen her in like a couple years now. And like continuing on, basically the follow-up, the fallout that happened from this. So my dad came to the police station with me, and obviously he knew about the bong and everything, and my dad's pretty cool. Like, I thought he was so uptight, but he's just like, oh no, Josh, like, it's just weed, it's fine as long as you're not doing any other drugs. And I'm like, no, of course. But I was doing Molly every weekend with my other friends, but we went to that. And then I remember the police sat down and they're like confirming all these stupid details with us. Like, he pulls out his watch and he's like, the time is 9:02, like while he's like recording this for some reason. And he's like showing us his watch and he's like, can you guys confirm that it's 9:02? And we're like, yeah. Like, and my dad's like, yeah, like, we're not disputing the time, the fuck. He's like, I'm not disputing anything, why? why why are you showing me your watch? Like, I don't care what the time is. And then he's just like, okay. And then I don't remember what they said, to be honest. At this time, I was just so cooked out of my mind all the time. I just can't even remember. But it was just something about like lying about my name. They barely mentioned the bong. I think they did once, but they were mainly focused on the fact that I had like lied about my name. And I think they were trying to threaten me with like they could take me to jail, but they're not. And I was just like, well, I don't think you can, because I was technically still a minor, so like it's not an offense. It's only an offense if you're an adult. But yeah, and then we left the police station, and my dad's like, God, that's Dumb and Dumber, isn't it? Like, like just a bunch of idiots. And I was like, oh yeah, tell me about it. Like when they arrested me, I was like, you guys are stupid, I could tell. But yeah, I got a court tape for my bong, and I went and they let me off. I had to go to this like drug diversion program, which was just like basically don't do heroin. Like, it's kind of like stopping it from escalating. They don't really care that you smoke weed. It was more the problem that like, a lot of people just kind of don't stop at weed and like keep going, which is true. Like, people say weed's not a gateway drug. I think it is a gateway drug. I think it's the thing that people first get into and then they move on to harder stuff a few years later. That's happened with all my friends. It happened with me. Like, I don't think there's any denying that. But it's just, it's all up to you and your self-control and how you kind of deal with it. But thanks so much for listening to this rambly ass life story. I realized I had this kind of like a mental breakdown a couple weeks ago, and I deleted everything. I deleted all my stories, all my ideas, like just basically everything. Because I was just kind of gonna trash this channel and just like, I'm done with it. And so I'm not really sure why I did that. I did that in a kind of manic episode, so I'm telling the story like purely just off of memory right now, and that's why it's been so like rambly. But I hope you enjoyed this new style of storytelling, because it's probably how they're gonna be for the next few forever. But thank you so much for watching. I did tell you I was gonna upload twice this week, and look at me, I did it. Smash the like button, have sex with it. Wait, no, let's not say that. Smash the like button, touch it inappropriately. Subscribe for more, follow me on Twitch for live streams. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.